Tonight, a major fire continues in the heart of Exeter. More than 100 firefighters have been trying to put out the blaze at the Royal Clarence Hotel in Cathedral Green. The fire is believed to have started at an art gallery which faces Exeter Cathedral, but spread to the hotel throughout the course of the morning.
Guests have described being evacuated from the building amid flames, ash and debris. In the last hour, firefighters from Dorset have been called in to assist the effort. Well, Hamish Marshall is at the scene for us this evening. Hamish.
Well, Andy, I've spent the day watching one of the biggest firefighting operations in the history of the Devon and Somerset Fire and Rescue Service. It started before first light this morning, and 13 hours later it's still continuing as the flames continue to burn in the buildings behind me. We'll hear in a moment of the historical significance of those buildings. Behind them is the High Street. Some properties there have been damaged, some businesses have been unable to open today. We'll be there to see what's happening there as well. But first, in a series of reports and reaction tonight, we look at the story of the day and how this fire unfolded. Harriet Bradshaw was one of the first people on the scene this morning.
The landscape of the city changed forever. This is one of Exeter's most iconic buildings, dating back centuries.
Nasty. Absolutely nasty. I don't like seeing anything like this happening at all.
It's devastating, absolutely devastating.
It's a massive operation, and I've had the privilege to go behind the cordon. Fire officers are incredibly brave. They've been fighting this all day, and you can see some of them are literally out on their feet, exhausted. The main thing is they stay safe, and you've got the ambulance crews in support of them as well.
And this is how it all started. The scene Exeter woke up to this morning, following a loud, sharp alarm just after 5 AM that echoed across Cathedral Green. More than 100 firefighters have been at the scene dealing with the blaze, whilst people were evacuated from neighbouring buildings.
My dad called up to say that we've got to evacuate, didn't say why. So I got changed and I went downstairs, and it sounded like it was raining because of all the crackling. So I quickly opened the door and saw this huge smoke and ash coming from the building, and then I saw the great orange flames.
We didn't realise it was a real fire, we just thought it was an error in the system, and we all rushed out. And of course we immediately realised, because as we came out of the hotel there was falling debris, burning stuff coming down.
I've lost my engagement ring, and I've lost my new iPhone, which I only got yesterday, and an iPad with all the photographs. That's the sad bit.
Yeah.
Everybody got out of the hotel, and it's just a very sad day for Exeter.
It looked like the fire was contained, but that changed. A gust of air just after 10 AM caused the fire to spread across the Royal Clarence Hotel building rooftop.
It's incredibly difficult for two reasons. The first is around structural integrity. The second reason is the age of the building and the number of hidden voids. What we have here is a very, very old building. It's timber framed, there's very high fire loading, and it makes it very, very difficult for all of our crews.
Emergency services have been here for hours and expect to be here for days to come. Harriet Bradshaw, BBC Spotlight, Exeter.
Well, much of the High Street and the city centre here in Exeter have been closed off throughout the day. It would normally have been quite a busy day, the final Friday of the October half-term, but instead the High Street has been dominated by fire appliances. Let's go and have a look at the situation there now with our correspondent Simon Hall.
Yes, Hamish, for a Friday evening here, Exeter city centre is strangely, eerily quiet. Quiet, of course, apart from the firefighters going about their work. It might be there. Much of the city centre has been closed off all day, and as Adrian Campbell now reports, it's caused widespread disruption.
Everyone in the centre of Exeter seemed to want a glimpse of what was happening as the flames took hold at the Royal Clarence Hotel. Late this afternoon, you could hear the structure of this landmark building begin to collapse inside.
Well, the problem is we don't know if we're working tomorrow or not, do we?
It's a bit like it.
It's been a terrible time for local cafes, shops and businesses close to this hotel.
It's more the loss of customers, them going elsewhere, them being disappointed, and my staff, who I need to employ as well. And of course we've got stock which we need to move because we only deal with fresh produce.
Well, we actually provide all the treatments for the Royal Clarence Hotel, so we won't be having those guests attend our spa anymore. But I've been visiting the Clarence since I was a child. My children have been visiting the Clarence, so it's really sad.
It's been a remarkable day in the centre of Exeter. Part of the city sealed off while the firemen work on this blaze. Meanwhile, just a short distance away, everyone is shopping as normal. I've even seen people out in the streets enjoying cups of coffee and sandwiches. A really strange atmosphere here today.
We came so far down here and realised we couldn't go any further, and really had to concentrate our shopping around the area. And even been into a main store to do some shopping, and that's closed because of the water.
There's no water?
There's no water because apparently all the pressure is being taken out, and so the shoppers had to close at 3. So we're going to go home.
It's sad, really sad. Because the Clarence has been here forever, it seems to be. I don't know how many years it's been here. But, we're trying to have a look at it, but we can't see it.
Shopkeepers told us they've struggled to keep up with developments today. Some closed their doors because they had no water. Tomorrow they say they'll do their best to ensure it's business as usual, but it won't be easy. Adrian Campbell, BBC Spotlight.
Well, joining me now is Devon and Somerset's Chief Fire Officer Lee Howell. And Mr. Howell, the first question, of course, is how are you getting on tonight with trying to control the fire?
Well, this is a very serious fire, as we're aware. We've got 4 aerial ladder platforms on each of the corners of this major building, or a series of buildings. So what we're doing is we're making sure that there's no further fire spread into adjacent buildings, and we're making good progress. So we're pleased with progress.
Good progress, but do you know how long it's going to be before you've actually got it under control?
Well, it's very difficult to tell. In fact, part of the problem that we've had in facing this particular fire is the nature of the construction. It's a very, very old building, and with common roof voids, the fire's been able to spread unseen through different roof spaces. And so until and unless we are able to fully determine that the fire is out, we're going to make sure that we're doing everything we can to protect the heritage, and also make sure there's no further fire spread.
And we're on a weekend coming up towards Christmas, a busy time. People want to know, will they be able to get into the city centre here in Exeter tomorrow?
Well, we are doing absolutely everything we can to bring this incident under control as quickly as we can. But at the same time, we also want to make sure that local businesses can operate. So what we're going to be doing, we've already discussed a potential plan to reduce the level of disruption that we can do, especially in this part of the city.
And what do you mean by that? Reduce the cordon?
Yeah, reduce the cordon, and if we can, we're going to see if we can allow access on one side to the high street. So the buildings that are directly affected, clearly they will be out of bounds, and we're still going to be operating there. But wherever possible, we recognise the concerns, and we're trying to do everything we can to accommodate businesses trading in Exeter tomorrow.
At one point we've been asked about, you thought you had the fire under control this morning, and then it flared up again. What happened there? What went wrong?
Well, it is a very complicated incident, and this morning all of the visible flames had gone, but actually what had happened, and the incident commander, as I left the incident this morning, the incident commander had said, actually we still need to maintain our resources here until we're absolutely sure this incident is under control. And just as well that we did that and took that approach, because actually it had started spreading to roof voids. The standard of fire protection for buildings built centuries ago are nowhere near the same standard now. So actually that was one of the reasons for the fire spread.
Okay, well, Chief Fire Officer, thank you for joining us here this evening. One interesting point, I've been talking to police officers who've been staffing the cordons here. They tell me normally when they have to keep people away from their work, their offices, their business, they can get quite grumpy. But not here, not today. Police officers tell me they've seen nothing but support, good nature from people, bringing tea and coffee to the people involved in this firefighting effort. A sign, they say, of community spirit, the shared hurt of the harm that's been caused to the historic heart of Exeter. Hamish.
Simon Hall on the High Street in Exeter there. As Lee Howell was saying, it's an ancient building behind us in the ancient heart of the city. Let's find out just how much has been lost today. Historian Todd Gray is with me. Just how big a loss is this?
Well, its prominence gives it a distinction, but really you're rebuilding a medieval building in the 17th century, 18th century, and turning into the first hotel gave it a distinction all across the country, and it's devastating as it's lost. All the buildings around it are incredibly important.
And how important is it the fire doesn't spread any further?
Well, what we have is an island of medieval buildings behind us. We lose 25% of the city during the Blitz, lots during the development in the 60s and the 70s. This is the key to the ancient part of Exeter. And the great worry is that it's going to spread to Laura Ashley and all the other ones around, which are real gems. I mean, this is Exeter at its best. So to lose them, well, we can't replace them.
And the Royal Clarence Hotel has got a very interesting history in itself.
Oh, the Clarence, you know, it's a landmark building. You know, if you were anybody in the 18th and 19th century, you stayed there. You know, Beatrix Potter, you know, people you can't imagine were there because it was the place to be. And, you know, had an Egyptian room in the mid-19th century. You know, it's like going off to Tutankhamun's tomb. You know, it's a wonderful building, and to think that we've lost it today, it's gutted.
And as you say, there were links that it wasn't bombed in the Second World War, but it had links with the Nazis before the war.
Oh yeah, it was the place where the fascists met in the 1930s. Before then, it's an abolitionist centre, you know, for the whole of Devon. You know, if you were an anti-slaver, that's where you went. And, you know, to have this gone in just a day is just shocking.
Todd Gray, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Well, as you can see, the firefighters are still on scene here tonight. They're going to be here right throughout the weekend as well. Earlier, some foam was put on the adjoining buildings to try to stop the fire from spreading. But as you can see, there are still flames this evening, and there's still a big job for the firefighters to do here in Cathedral Green in Exeter. Back to you.
Okay, Hamish, many thanks. Now on to